Junior outside hitter number 10, Carter Chavez. Senior opposite side hitter number 11, Ted Simpson. Sophomore middle blocker number 13, Aiden Charakana. Senior center number 14, Hicks Tachura. Freshman middle blocker number 17, John Wolf. And sophomore outside hitter number 23, Ian Glasgow. The assistant coach is Jamie Overbrunner, and the head coach of the Raiders is Shane Reed. And now, here are the starters for your Concordia Chicago Cougars. The libero is junior number 1, Blake Rosen. Senior middle blocker number 3, Colby Campbell. Senior outside hitter number 4, Luke Zenowicz. Junior outside hitter number 7, David Vale. Senior opposite side hitter number 9, Tyler Holiday. Freshman center number 11, Eli Mosher. And freshman middle blocker number 18, Andre Moeller. Assistant coaches Peter Durowski, and the head coach of the Cougars is Greg Manos.
Good evening, Cougar fans, and welcome inside Geisman Gymnasium for this conference matchup between the visiting Raiders of the Milwaukee School of Engineering and the Cougars of Concordia University, Chicago. I'm Parker Kelly, joined by Peter Borkowski. Let's go ahead and give you a quick rundown of the starting lineups. First for the Raiders, the libero is number 1, Kenny Kernberger. Number 10, Carter Chavez. Number 11, Ted Simpson. Number 13, Aiden Sharapata. Number 14, Nick Statura. Number 17, John Wolf. And number 23, Ian Glasgow. And for the Cougars, the libero, number 1, Blake Rosen. Number 3, Colby Campbell. Number 4, Luke Vozenalik. Number 7, David Vales. Number 9, Tyler Hollebeck. Number 11, Eli Mosher. And number 18, Andre Moeller, the head coaches from both sides. Shane Reed is the head coach of the Milwaukee School of Engineering on the other side. In his first season with the Cougars, head coach Greg Manos. And Peter, this should be a good matchup considering the Raiders come in at 4th in the NAC, and on the other hand, the Cougars come in at 6th. This could determine a lot as far as seeding is concerned.
Well, they might be 2 seeds separated. Currently, Marion is in between them. But the Cougars, they're only 1 win behind this MSOE team. 6-4 in conference for Cougars. Meanwhile, MSOE sitting at 7-3. So, like you said, Parker, this is a big game. If this game won by the Cougars, they will tie MSOE, have that tiebreaker due to the head-to-head matchup win. But it all starts here, first serve of the game.
And David Vales set to serve for the Cougars, and that's played by the Raiders. Nice block up front by Moeller. And dug by Rosen. Hollebeck answers with the kill. Right out of the gate, Tyler Hollebeck.
Well, Hollebeck forms probably the most formidable 1-2 punch in the conference, if not one of the most dangerous in the nation. Hollebeck second in the conference in kills per set and points per set. The only player he's behind in those 2 categories is his teammate, Luke Vozenalik.
Vozenalik and Hollebeck having quite the season, as that point right there is awarded to the Raiders. And set to serve for MSOE, number 17, John Wolf.
MSOE, a very good serving team towards the top of the conference in both service aces per set and service aces allowed per set. to be more exact. They're 5th in aces percent, 1st in aces allowed. So this is a team who really gets it done when it comes to serving time. So the Cougars got to be on top of their game from the very start of the volley to the end.
And the Cougars get the point right there. And coming into the game, number 12, Christopher Livesay, one of the serving specialists for this Cougar squad. Nice block up front by Campbell.
Well, you knew the blocking was going to be on display tonight from CUC, 3rd in the country in blocks per set as a team. This is an extremely dangerous team when it comes to frontline defense, something MSOE is going to have to work really hard to get around.
And one of the leaders of that front line, Colby Campbell, who currently ranks 2nd in the NAC in blocks per set. He's having himself a nice season. MSOE gets the point. They will be set to serve. That's number 11, Ted Simpson. Simpson's serve goes straight into the net. Service error, point Cougars. Now back to serve the stud freshman for this Cougar squad, number 11, Eli Mosher. Mosher's serve is over. Played by MSOE. Mosher sets up Vozenelik. That's played by the Raiders. Mosher for Vozenelik again. Just out of the reach of the libero, Kernberger. And a kill for Mr. Vozenelik.
Well, I was talking about it when talking about Tyler Hollebeck, but Luke Vozenelik, 1st in the conference in both kills per set and points per set. Also one of the nation's leaders in those kinds of categories as well. So Vozenelik's been really the centerpiece of this Cougars team since day one. He set foot on campus 4 years ago, and he's having one of his best seasons now as a senior.
And the reception error from the Raiders. And that's exchanged by a service error from Mosher.
Cougars have also been an extremely good team at taking care of business from the very start of the game until the very end of the game. We've seen so many sweeps by this team, and if not sweeps, then 3-1 victories by this team. They just know how to get that momentum and hold on to it.
And service error from the Raiders. And going off of that point, Peter, this is a different Cougars team than what we saw last season. Last season, they struggled to finish games. Now it's quite the opposite. And they're a really good team at getting those sweeps and those 3-1 victories for sure.
Well, we saw that struggle kind of pop up at the beginning of the season. A lot of 5-set losses for this team under first-year head coach Greg Manos. But really since the midseason point, not even midseason, after, just a handful of games into the season, they really started to turn that around, be able to hold on to any kind of momentum.
As the Raiders get the kill at the hands of number 13, Aiden Sharapata. That'll be exchanged for a Cougar point. Now coming into the game, another freshman and serving specialist, number 14, Deontay Garcia. Garcia, his serve is over. Strong attack right there from Carter Chavez, and it looked like that might have hit the ground. Chavez will get a kill.
Well, we've talked about Vozenelik and Hollebeck for the Cougars. For the MSOE Raiders, it's Carter Chavez, the star of the show. 4th in the NAC in kills per set and 6th in points per set. So number 10 in red, the junior, really powering this offense that has got his team at 4th in the conference right now.
Peter, we were talking a little bit before the match started. This was a really good team, serving team in MSOE. They've had a few service errors here early. That's quite unlike them.
Well, it goes for any team that if you're struggling to do what you do best in the game, things aren't going to go very well for you. Again, especially when you're playing a team like the Cougars, who I think fundamentally sound is one of the best ways to describe them. They don't do anything too flashy. They just do everything just right, and that's what leads them to get a lot of these wins. So if you're going to make a lot of mistakes like the one we just saw there, Cougars, they're going to capitalize on that.
The Cougars have capitalized so far off of those service errors from the Raiders. Back to serve, number 7, David Vales for CUC. And that attack a little off the mark. That was Ian Glashigel. Attack error. Cougars really making it a focus point to capitalize off of the errors of MSOE. They're doing that so far in set one.
So far, there have been a lot for MSOE. They just don't look that clean of a team.
Cougars are piling up points here. They lead 12-6.
Something else this Cougars team is especially talented at is that when they go on runs, they really keep going on runs. They pile on as many points as possible as quickly as they can. So when the other team inevitably goes on a run of their own, Cougars got a nice bank of points to rely on.
As the service error off of the hands of Vales kind of stopped the bleeding for the Raiders. As Wolf's serve was over the net. Nice attack right there from the Cougars. And they get back on the board. Now coming back into the game for service duties, number 12, Christopher Livesay. Mentioned his name a couple times tonight. So he able to play it. Nice dig right there from Livesay. And Bo Zenalik blocked up front by that Raiders front line. That's something we don't see often.
Well, this is a good blocking team by the Raiders. And they're capable of being a good blocking team. Their stats might not show it, but you know, if you're able to block Zenalik up front, it takes a lot of talent.
Definitely not an easy task considering the rocket arm he has. MSOE somehow able to play it. Campbell. And that's tipped over by Vozenalik. He gets a sneaky kill.
Well, and that's where you see the height come into play. Vozenalik at 6'7", tall even by volleyball standards. So Vozenalik going up for that really 50-50 ball and just coming away with it.
As Mosher, his serve is over, played by MSOE. Right there. Another errant attack from Carter Chavitz, just a little too much power behind that.
MSOE's really yet to hit their groove so far this game, and that's something the Cougars are good at because of how consistent they are fundamentally. It's hard to get into a groove against this team because they're going to get a point eventually just of how sound they are. So it's hard to get a lot of these points against the Cougars team, especially when you're down by a decent amount like MSOE is right now.
And Rosen not able to play that one. That'll give MSOE the point and send Glashigel back to serve. Strong serve from Glashigel. Vozenalik. It goes off of the hands of Simpson. And the 4-touch rule called on the Raiders. That will result in the 16th Cougar point. They lead 16-9. Vozenalik, strong serve, but played by the libero from MSOE. Chavitz. Nice job able to keep it alive by Rosen. Vozenalik. Nice freebie over the net.
I don't know if I'd call that one a freebie from Vozenalik. I think he knew what he was doing there. He saw there's a big gap between the two lines. So he put just enough on it to float it over the front line. And, you know, we saw libero for the Raiders come in, try to make the play in Kierenberger. But, again, great placement by Vozenalik to put that one in no man's land.
It's not always a missile from Vozenalik. He has that nice touch and accuracy when needed. As the Cougars going on a little bit of a run, and that forces a timeout by Shane Reed and the Raiders. Cougars lead 18-9. We'll be back for the conclusion of the first set here on the Cougar Sports Network. And we're back inside of Geisman Gymnasium. The Cougars lead the Raiders 18-9 here in the first set. So far, the Cougars going on a big run. The Raiders not looking like their typical selves. The team that came in to today fourth in the NAC had a couple errors here early, Peter.
Well, and I think a big reason for that, which is something that we always talk about, is Geisman itself. Coach Manos talked about the impact of playing at home in our latest Coaches Weekly that was done on this past Thursday. And, I mean, it's just such a hostile environment to play in, especially when you got a team doing extremely well like this men's volleyball team is. CUC fans really get behind them.
As Vozenilik gets a service ace. Vozenilik leads the Cougars in service aces now with 27. As that's played by the Raiders. Sent over by Glashagel. Nice attack right there from Campbell. Gets the Cougars. They're 5 points away from that magic number of 25 and closing out set number one.
This is just a big morale boost for the Cougars right here. You're only 5 away from coming to set. Meanwhile, MSOE, well, they weren't in single digits when I started talking, but Jinx kicked in before I could finish. Still, I mean, this, again, the Cougars have just put themselves in a great position where as long as they don't do anything too majorly wrong, they just play good, decent volleyball, they're going to come away with this first set win. Able to play it is Vales.
Vozenilik at attack goes straight into the net. Raiders have strung together 2 consecutive points. Trail 22-11.
Well, to spin that last take. That's what you got to keep in mind if you're on the court in white right now is just do what you do best. Play the fundamentals. Don't do anything too fancy because, again, you're only 5 away from winning this set. So let MSOE keep messing up like they have been doing and just don't do too many errors out there.
The Cougars just need to keep playing their style of volleyball. It's boded well for them so far. They get the point. Now 4 points away from 25, and into the game comes Deontay Garcia. He'll be set to serve. His serve is over. Played by Kernberger. It goes off of the hands of Mosher. Looks like he wasn't quite necessarily ready for that one, and out of bounds. MSOE with the point. Now coming into the game for the Raiders, Nick Stachura. His serve is over. As Mosher sets up Hollebeck. MSOE able to play it. Rosen sets up Hollebeck again. A little too much behind that one. Just hit right outside of that backcourt line. And MSOE trying to go on a little bit of a run here early to close that gap.
And even if MSOE doesn't come away with the set, which, you know, at this point is looking unlikely, if you're Coach Shane Reed, you got to be happy with how you are ending this set. You're getting more points on the board than you were before the timeout he took. And again, even though you might come down 0-1 in the match, that's going to give you some confidence going into that second set, knowing that you are capable of keeping up with the CUC team.
MSOE has looked like a little bit of a different team ever since that timeout. Of course, as I say that, reception error right there from the Raiders. Cougars 2 points away from closing set number one out. Hollebeck back to serve. His serve is over. A little too strong service error. Raiders staying alive.
Well, they got to score 11 here while only being able to give up 1 until, you know, unless they get to point 24 where you got to win by 2. So.
And Vales with the emphatic kill. And it's now set point here, set number one. Vales trying to close it out. He's back to serve. And that's played by the Raiders, Vozenilik. And that goes off of the hands of the front line of the Raiders, and the Cougars take set one, 25-14. And who else besides Luke Vozenilik He has 4 kills on the night so far. Cougars take set number 1, 25-14. We'll be back for set number 2 on the Cougar Sports Network. Cougar fans, head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics. Make sure to insert men's volleyball, click sports. You can see rosters, schedules, stats, and more. Again, that can be found at CUCougars.com. Well, Peter, we've been talking a lot about Luke Vozenelik. He came into today 10 kills away from his 1,000th career kill. And we mentioned he got 4 kills in that first set. He's now 6 away.
Vozenelik, I mentioned it earlier, he's been the star of this Cougars offense ever since he stepped foot onto this campus as a freshman. And now, assuming he continues on his trajectory for tonight's game, he's going to be rewarded with his 1,000th kill ball tonight, which is just a remarkable accomplishment for any player. But in terms of the match itself, the Cougars not leaving much room to operate for MSOE. They're just dominating play at all. And the big note that stands out to me, at least, is that hitting percentage right now. 333 in favor, 333 for the Cougars. Meanwhile, MSOE only hitting .045. So not only are the Cougars hitting extremely well, extremely accurately, MSOE is having a tough time doing that themselves.
And MSOE, not the team that they've been all season. I know they have a 9-13 overall record, but in conference play they've been dominant, 7-3, 4th in the NAC. Just not looking like the team they were before tonight, at least in set 1. Things could be different here in set 2 as number 10, Carter Shavitz, back to serve for MSOE. As his serve is up and over. Nice play by Rosen. Sets up Hollebeck, and he starts off the set with a kill.
The start of this second set is going to be really telling for these two teams. If the Cougars come out on fire like they were all of set 1, you're going to see that set 1 was not a fluke. This is what the Cougars are going to be doing tonight, and MSOE is going to continue to struggle. But if MSOE is able to come out, calm the storms, and play good volleyball to start off here, it's going to show that set 1 might have been a bit of a fluke, and they are the team that we thought they were on paper.
The Cougars off to a hot start right now as they get a big block up front. Colby Campbell leading the charge. That send Christopher Livesay back for a second consecutive serve. And it looked like Vozenelik came over the net, and MSOE will get on the board.
Well, that might be what it takes for MSOE. A CUC mistake, which have been hard to come by tonight, gives MSOE the ball, gives them a chance to go on a run now. When your team itself isn't playing up to your standards, sometimes you got to rely on the other team to slip up here and there to get control.
And Mosher, not expecting that, was John Wolf as he tried to play it, just not able to get it.
Well, Mosher, He's been sneaky good in terms of getting kills this year, but of course the stat everybody's looking at is his assist number. 8.83 assists per set. That is currently 5th in the conference, and he's doing this as a freshman.
Mosher having quite the season so far as a true freshman. As Vozenelik, it's a one-handed kill.
And I think this is really the team that Coach Manos dreams of, especially from what I've gathered in our interviews, is that the defense is really the dominant factor. It's just so hard to score points against this Cougars team and do that consecutively. But this offense is also extremely efficient, not super flashy, but they get the job done. They do what they're supposed to do. They get those kills when they need to, when they should get those kills, and then they rely on that extremely good defense to make up any laps here and there.
As Hollebeck, that kill off of the hands of that front line of the Raiders and out of bounds. Another kill for Tyler Hollebeck. He now has 4 so far. Vozenelik's serve goes into the net. That will result in a MSOE point. Now back to serve for the Raiders, number 23, Ian Glashigo.
Well, interesting stat. MSOE's now at a 0 hitting percentage, which means it just kept going down after that pretty miserable first set. So they're going to have to make some major adjustments here to get that hitting percentage up, because the Cougars, their hitting percentage went up even more. They're currently sitting at 370.
Rosen not able to play that one. That'll send MSOE back. And a service error. The Cougars will get the ball right back.
Well, MSOE now at 5 service errors, CUC at 6. So both teams kind of struggling from the service line so far in tonight's matchup, which means they're going to have to rely on that settled volley play. And right now that is going entirely in the way of the Cougar.
And another service error from the Cougars. That's off the hands of Deontay Garcia. It was a tightly contested beginning of set number 2. Way different start for the Raiders.
Well, the very start of the set looked to be all CUC like we were used to in that first set, but Raiders have picked it up since then, and they were 1 point away from tying it.
As an attack error off the hands of Aiden Sharapata. Hollebeck to serve for CUC. And Sharapata redeems himself. Excuse me, that was Wolf.
Well, Wolf, a freshman out of St. Louis, Missouri. So far in the year has played in 15 sets, so a decent amount for his head coach.
He's been doing a lot of work as a freshman, as Hollebeck gets the kill for the Cougars. And Vales back to serve. Vales, that's played. Chavez, sent over by Glashigel. Vozenelik, that goes right off of the left arm of Glashigel and out of bounds, lands in the CUC student section. And now Vozenelik 4 kills away from 1,000 kills. Vales. It's played by MSOE. And Moeller with strong attack. Now Chavez. That one pings inside back court. The Raiders trail the Cougars 9-7. As Chavez. Strong serve right there from Chavez, able to be played by the Cougars. That attack out of bounds from Vozenelik. And the Raiders are within one.
Well, we're starting to see the Cougars make a couple more errors here and there, which probably a big reason MSOE is able to get back into the second set. Of course, they are playing good volleyball on their own accord, but it helps when your opponent isn't playing the near flawless volleyball we saw in that first set.
There's a service error from Chavez. MSOE playing a lot better in set two. However, a couple errors here and there from the Raiders, but major improvement. Strong attack right there from Glashagel. He'll get the kill. Glashagel now with 3 kills combined here in set 1 and 2. As number 17, John Wolf, to serve for MSOE. Mosher sends that one over. Tipped over by Glashagel. Big block up front from MSOE. Another one, that's 2 blocks so far on this volley. Glashagel. A save from Rosen. Mosher sets up Hollebeck. And that front line of the Raiders gets the point. Big block up front. They tie things up at 10 apiece.
I don't think that front line of the Raiders right now can be given any more credit. About 2 straight blocks on Bozenelik attacks, which is hard to pull off, and then get the final block that leads to the point. So that front line, I mean, they're currently ranked 10th in the conference coming into tonight in terms of blocks per set, but they've really stepped it up here as of late, especially when it comes to slowing down some of the heavy CUC hitters.
And that front line was very impressive. However, on the next possession, service error will result in a Cougars point. Rosen set up for Hollebeck, and he'll get himself a kill. That's now 7 kills on the night for Tyler Hollebeck, which leads either side. Mosher. It's played by Chavez. Big block up front by Campbell and Hollebeck. And MSOE not able to get the ball over. Now 3 straight points from the Cougars. And Mosher to serve once again. Mosher. Big block again. Campbell and Hollebeck. Strong front line performance from the Cougars, and that'll force another timeout from Shane Reed and MSOE. Cougars lead 14-10 here in set 2. We'll be back for more set 2 action on the Cougar Sports Network. And we're back inside Geisman Gymnasium. The Cougars currently lead the Raiders 14-10 here in set number 2. And Peter, we haven't seen the same offense from either side. However, both front lines are really stepping up.
Well, again, I think the bigger surprise is really MSOE, 10th in the conference in blocks per set coming into tonight. And right now they're putting on a show. I mean, I mentioned the consecutive blocks against Bozenelik, something a lot of teams wouldn't be able to do, and MSOE's doing a great job of it so far. Meanwhile, Cougars front line, they're doing what they've always do, the 3rd in the nation in blocks per set. They're keeping that hot streak alive tonight, just playing lockdown defense.
Cougars hoist the 4-point advantage as Mosher's serve is over and played by Glashagel. He sends that one over. A little bit of a floater and stops the bleeding for the Raiders.
And as simple as it may sound, that's what you got to do to take down this, get past this Cougars front line, I should say. So you just got to float them over. You know, you go through those hard attacks. That front line's going to step up and block them, but you can just float it over the top of the hands. You should be able to get yourself some more offense going.
And a strong attack, a little too strong from Ted Simpson. And it goes out of bounds. Bozenilik set to serve. Nice play right there from Kernberger. Another big stand on that front line. That was Bales and Campbell this time.
Again, it's so consistent, too. That front line defense for the Cougars, it's not only hard to get 1 point past them, it's near impossible to get multiple points in a row past them. They're just always on the top of their game, which you can't say that about a lot of teams.
And Rosen sets up Hollebeck, and Hollebeck will get a kill. Hollebeck is automatic right now. 8 kills right now. Bozenilik hits the top part of the net. Service error for Bozenilik. And back to serve for the Raiders is Ian Glashagel. Glashagel's serve is over. Nice diving save by Rosen. Glashagel again as Mosher sets up Bozenilik. And Bozenilik shows off that rocket of an arm. He's now 3 kills away from 1,000.
Well, Bozenilik gone a little quiet in the recent parts of this set, but he knows it's all right because he's got Hollebeck on his other side. He's got 8 kills leading the match tonight. So really the emergence of Hollebeck this year is a kills machine since he's been able to move out of that setter position with the emergence of Eli Mosher. Hollebeck's taking a lot of that pressure off of Bozenilik, which gives him more looks. I mean, when you got 2 top-tier attack players to worry about, you know, really makes defenses choose which one to focus on.
And a reception error right there. That was Glashagel. Cougars going on a bit of a run. 5 points away from 25 here in set 2. Cougars lead 20-12. Garcia set to serve again. Garcia. And that's played by the Raiders' Shavitz. His attack is out of bounds as Garcia kind of ducks out of the way. Garcia getting a lot of work as far as service duties are concerned. Played by the Raiders in Shavitz. That goes off of the hands of the front line. I believe that was Moeller and Hollebeck, and that goes out of bounds.
Well, MSOE is going to go on a run, and now is the chance. They're running out of runway to do so. Cougars just 4 points away. They're going to need a big run here, which we really haven't seen them pull off tonight.
As Shavitz goes over, Mosher not able to play it. MSOE down 21-14, and back to serve is Aiden Sharapata. As Mosher sets up Bales. Bales' attack goes straight into that front line, who's been pretty dominant here in set 2. And back again, Sharapata. As Mosher sets up Hollebeck, and Hollebeck once again.
Well, now is the test for MSOE. How do they respond to Cougars getting another point on the board? We've seen a lot through this match that when the Cougars go on get 1 point, they usually get a couple fouled behind it. So MSOE, now that they got the ball right back after the error, they have to go on a run themselves.
Hollabeck not happy about that one as his serve goes straight into the net. Cougars trying to close this one out, set 2, give them a commanding 2-0 lead. As the pancaked attempt from Vales, not able to get under it. MSOE sticking around.
Well, it's kind of like we saw towards the end of last set where MSOE goes on, this little bit of a second wind run. Managed to get a couple points by the end of the set. Cougars just need to play good, clean volleyball. They'll be able to finish it off, no problem.
As Moeller's attempt is no good, it's kept alive. Kept alive again by Rosen.
Good adjustment by Vales to finally get it over.
And Moeller, big block up front. Peter, this has been a story of both front lines just absolutely battling it out here in set 2.
Well, in terms of blocks on the actual game, Cougars should be at 7 once our stats update, and then MSOE currently sitting at 3. But even when they don't get a technical block off of it, just their very presence has, I think, been forcing both teams to kind of change how they do things offensively.
And it's now set point for the Cougars. Looking to close this one out is David Vales. Cougars lead the Raiders 24-17. As Vales' serve is over, but played by MSOE. Chavez. It goes off of the hands of Vozenelik and out of bounds. As Chavez serving for the Raiders.
And this was what I was talking about earlier in the game where Cougars are able to go on these runs that build them up such an impressive lead that even when the other team does catch a bit of a hot streak like MSOE has, they're up by so much that they can afford to, give up a couple points and still be sitting pretty just like they are now, still at set point.
And Chavez, he's been a strong server for this Raiders team. That one was off the hands of Rosen on that previous point, and now that one looks like he got another service ace. That's 2 straight service aces for Carter Chavez.
So the initial call from the ladder official is out, and then he conferred with the official over by the scores table, and they're able to reverse it.
Rosen able to play that one. Trying to close it out is Vozenelik, played by MSOE. Chavez, played by Rosen again. Mosher sets up Vozenelik, and he closes it out. Luke Vozenelik, kill number 8. Closes it out for the Cougars. Cougars take set number 2, 25-20. We'll be back for the beginning of the 3rd set on the Cougar Sports Network. And we're back inside of Geisman Gymnasium. Cougars took set number 2, 25-20. Real quick, want to give a quick shout out to our student workers who are making this broadcast possible. On spotter duties is Jada Carr, our libero tracker, Kate Johnson, working the scoreboard, Ashley Schroll. Over here on the camera is Haley Howard. Down there on the scorebook, Danielle Burke, our student photographer, Saba Miller, our producer, Ryan McGee. We are under the direction of Sydney Palaskis-Laher and our sports information director, Kayla McLeod. Well, Peter, the Cougars currently have a commanding 2-0 lead. What do they have to do to get the sweep over the Raiders?
Well, I mean, as basic as it might sound, I think it's just do what they've been doing. They've been playing extremely good volleyball, and like I've been preaching all broadcasts, it's not that they do anything too special. I mean, maybe you want to consider that frontline defense something special, which I certainly do, but offensively, there's nothing too flashy going on. They're just fundamental, sound volleyball. They're going to keep that up. MSOE, they've hit their stride a couple times, but nothing too serious. So Cougars, if they just keep doing what they're doing, no major departure from whatever the current game plan is/was, then they should come away with a win here, 3 sets or not.
As set 3 is underway here in Geisman, and set to serve first, the CUC, and serving will be David Vales. And it's played by the Raiders, and the Raiders will strike first. Number 17, John Wolf, and this is the Raiders' first lead of the night.
This is what they need. They need to come out strong here after 2 straight sets of CUC domination. MSOE, they just need to come out and grab an early lead and grab a sizable lead at that. Force the Cougars to start having to play desperate, maybe stray from the game plan a little bit.
As Chavet's attack goes out of bounds, Cougars will get on the board, tie things up at 1 apiece.
Really, I mean, volleyball, more so than a lot of other sports, is a game of runs. We see teams go on big point runs almost every set, so it's really going to be who's going to find that point run in them this set and find it first to build up that lead.
As Mosher sets up Vozenelik. Vozenelik, the kill. He is now 1 kill away from 1,000 career kills at Concordia, Chicago. As Livesay serve is over, and Chavez, an attack error, that'll be point Cougars.
Well, MSOE came out, got the first point of the set, which is what you want to see them do after 2 straight handed set losses, but now they're letting the Cougars go on that run I was talking about. They got to put something on the board here quick.
As the Cougars will get the point. 4 straight points for the Cougars. Serving for a 3rd time in a row is Livesay. As that is played by the Raiders. Vozenelik thought they got the block right there, but still volleyball's being played. That goes off of the hands of that Cougar front line and out of bounds. And a couple substitutions being made by the Raiders. For the first time tonight, serving will be number 4, Dixon Seymour for MSOE. And it's played by Vozenelik. This attack right there from Campbell. MSOE keeps it alive. As Mosher. And that will do it! For Luke Vozenelik, 1,000 career kills at CUC.
So you see I'm trying to track the game ball down right now because that's something they're going to want to keep, as we see our photographer, Saba Miller, tracking it down. But what an achievement by Vozenelik. Again, 4 years here at CUC. He's going to get a little honor as the next break, the next timeout, whatever it may be. So just a fantastic career here at CUC, and he's hoping to end it this year with the team's first ever playoff appearance, which they are oh so close to. So while he's hit that impressive achievement mark that only a handful of players can say they hit, he's got more work to do this year.
And Vozenelik had such an impressive career at CUC. And he'll get another kill.
I mean, multi-first team All-NAC. He was an All-American. He's done about just all of it, except, of course, the big thing that Coach Manos has been talking about this year, which is that NAC tournament. CUC hasn't made one in program history. This is probably the closest they will ever be to making it. And the way they're playing, the way they play against some of these top teams in the conference, like Benedictine, like Dominican, they had a real shot at making a run in that tournament too.
And this is a big week in regards to seeding and maybe that first playoff, or first conference tournament berth for the Cougars. They've done about everything else other than make an appearance in the conference tournament.
Again, they've exercised a lot of the demons that have haunted them for this program history. First program win over Dominican earlier in the year. First program win against Benedictine last week. That was the first conference loss Benedictine has suffered as well this season. So that was a big Tuesday night in Geisman, big Wednesday night, in Geisman. So this team has done a lot this year that not a lot of that no other Cougars team can say they did. And again, if anything he said in those interviews is to go by, Coach Mandos has his eyes set on that playoff berth, as does this team.
This Concordia team has accomplished a lot. Swept Dominican University earlier in the season. First time the Cougars have ever done that. Also beat Benedictine almost a week ago. First time they've done that as well. Having quite an historic season for a program that is so young. As the Raiders will get the kill to pull themselves within 2 points. That'll send Nick Statura back to serve for MSOE. Strong serve right there off of the hands of Vozenelik. And Hollebeck just has to send that one over. MSOE wasn't ready for it, however.
It's a bit of a miscue there between Kierenberger and Wolf. Maybe trying to figure out which one of them should have taken it. And I think that's just been kind of symbolic of how this team has been playing tonight. Just too many errors here and there to really get anything going.
And a kill right there. That was Alex Craters. Haven't called his name a whole lot tonight. That is Crater's second kill of the evening. Chavet's serve is out of bounds. Another service error for this Raiders squad. And that'll send Christopher Livesay back to the service line for CUC.
This is about where we saw this team pull away in the second set, was kind of this mid-set period. That's when CUC started playing some really good volleyball, so hopefully we get to see that trend again.
There was an errant attack from Statura, and Geisman is emphatic right now.
So some of the crowd as well as Coach Reed were looking at the ladder official, wanting to make the claim that it was a tip. No good, so Cougars get that point and just add another.
Service ace from Livesay. Getting some good work right now from the service line.
I said this is where the Cougars started to pull away last set, and if this is any indication, this might be where they do it again.
As James Zapay stops the bleeding for MSOE. Cougars went on a major run. Nice response right there from Zapay. And once again, serving for the Raiders, Dixon Seymour. Second time serving tonight. As a little miscue right there from Rosen. Ball traveled a little faster than he was expected. Service ace for Seymour.
The Cougars got to shut this run down here before MSOE can pull any closer, but that's really been one of the big problems with MSOE is they shut that run down themselves at the air. They give Cougars control of the ball now and give CUC a chance to go on a run here.
Now Mosher serving for Concordia. Mosher serve into the net. Now MSOE in double-digit points here in set number 3. They trail 13-10.
Well, MSOE's just gotten better every set. Set 1, they really were never in it. And then set 2, they were in it for quite a bit before CUC pulled up. But now set 3, they're holding on for longer than they have in the previous 2 sets. They got to keep that momentum going because they got a big hole to climb out of being down 0-2 in the set.
As an attack error from Hollebeck. Cougars get the point right back. As Bozenilik, man with over 1,000 career kills during his time at CUC, back to serve. As Campbell not able to play that one out of bounds. Point MSOE.
Well, they haven't had a lead since the very first point of this set. They've done a good job of just hanging around the Cougars all set. They've been within 2 or 3 since, CUC took their first lead of this third set. But they're going to have to go on that run eventually to not only make up the difference in the lead, but also take the lead themselves.
Right there, a kill from David Vales. Vales, a second kill of the night. He's had a quiet night, but been a really instrumental piece in providing that veteran leadership to this Cougars team. As Garcia serve tips over the net. It's played by Craters. Chavez just has to send a freebie over. Moeller with strong attack. Moeller with a big block up front. As an MSOE point. Last touched by Vales.
So Vales hit the pin, so pulls MSOE back within 2.
MSOE not going away early in set 3. They're sticking around. Been a thorn in the Cougars' side here in this current set. As a little too strong of an attack from Hollebeck. The Raiders are now within 1.
This is where you got to really collect yourself. If you are CUC, you have the 2-0 set lead, and now Raiders making a big push here in the third set. I mean, we saw this happen against the Marion game, a game the Cougars up 2-0 should really have won. They dropped that one in 5 after the comeback from the Sabres, so they got to get past that mental block and just take care of business here in the third set. Don't give Marion any chance at the comeback.
As Hollebeck's attack played by Craters. And Chavez blocked up front by Moeller and Mosher. Now Moeller, strong attack, it's kept alive. Just outside of the reach of diving Luke Bozenilik, the Raiders are back within 1. They trail 16-15.
And something to be cognizant of is this Raiders team has always gone on a decent run at the end of sets, even though the Cougars have been thoroughly in control by the end of the first and second set. So the Cougars got to be careful with that. If MSOE goes on that late set run again, CUC doesn't have that lead to be able to handle it.
As Mosher's attack goes off of the hands of James Zapay. Zapay's diving attempt is no good, goes right off of his right arm and into the visitor side bleachers. David Vales to serve. Real quick, looks like we have a little bit of sweat on the ground. Blake Rosen on the floor cleaning it up. Looks like we are all good and set to resume play. As Vales back to serve. Played by Zape. Craters. Nice diving save right there from Vales. A little too much right there. Hollebeck. MSOE really doing their best to stick around. So far, they're doing just that. As Shavitz. Saved by Vales. And an attack error right there from Moeller as it went straight into the net. And we are tied here in set 3. And that'll force a timeout from Concordia and head coach Greg Manos. Tied at 17. We'll be back for set 3 action here on the Cougar Sports Network.
That puts him at 1,000 for his career. Congratulations.
We're back inside of Geisman Gymnasium. We are tied at 17-17 between the visiting Raiders and the Cougars. And Peter, MSOE is not going down. They're not going away easy here in set 3.
No, like I said, this is a team that they've improved as this match has gone along. Set 1, just thoroughly in control of the Cougars, 25-14. Set 2, 25-20, again in favor of CUC. But, I mean, this MSOE team's really found a third gear, another gear here in this third set is what I meant to say. And they're playing the best volleyball they have of all night. But, again, they have such a big hole to climb out of. Cougars just have to kind of collect themselves, go back to what they're doing, simplify things, and they should be able to come away with the match win.
And Vozenelik, another kill for him. That's now kill number 12 for Luke Vozenelik. The Cougars reclaim the lead, and Christopher Livesay will be back to serve. Livesay, his serve is over. Nice play right there from Kernberger. Sets up Vozenelik, and a nice attack right there. Not that missile that we usually see, just send a floater over. Nice accuracy from Vozenelik.
Well, good job by the Cougars. Come out of the timeout after MSOE tied it up. And now you come out and get the first 2 points. Build that lead back up. They just got to keep it going as they do there.
Big block up front from Luke Vozenelik. He used every bit of that 6'7" frame. Livesay to serve again. He's been getting a lot of work from behind the service line. Craters. That pings right inside that service line. For the third time tonight, Dixon Seymour to serve for the Raiders. Seymour. Sneaks inside. Looks like it might have gone out from our view, but refs say it bounced inside. Service ace for Seymour.
Again, coming into the match, MSOE, an extremely talented service ace team, and we haven't really seen that as now we are. They've tied it up. 2 straight service aces. Cougars.
And that'll force another timeout from head coach Greg Manos. We are tied at 20-20. We'll be back for the conclusion of the third set on the Cougar Sports Network. And we're back inside of Geisman Gymnasium. One of the few ties we've seen tonight. We are tied 20-20 between the Raiders and Cougars. And serving for the Raiders is number 4, Dixon Seymour, who has had previously 2 service aces. This Raiders team is a good serving team, and that's been on display tonight.
Well, and right now, I mean, last time we saw a timeout taken by Coach Manos, Cougars came out and scored 2 straight points out of it. So you got to be able to replicate that right here. Both teams only 5 away from the set victory as make that 4 away for the Raiders now.
And Seymour has provided a spark of momentum for this MSOE team as they have got their second lead of the night. They lead the Cougars 21-20. Seymour back for some more work. And Bo Zenelik ties things back up in Geisman.
Good response right there. MSOE taking just their second lead of the night. Could have phased the Cougars instead. Bo Zenelik just going about business as usual. Able to get the kill, tie this one back up. It's the first of 4 now.
And Mosher to serve for the Cougars. That's played by Zape. Big block! Hollebeck Campbell, book it!
There you go, that frontline defense stepping up when you need it. Have the lead back again. Time to go on a run here, close the book. Don't let MSOE even sniff that 25th point.
And Zape. And that goes off of the hands of Campbell and Hollebeck, who just got that big block right before. That goes out of bounds. We are once again tied. And Craters, his serve is played by Rosen. Bo Zenelik as Chavitz tracks it down, and that's sent over by Zenberger.
Good tracking there. Ball managed to avoid the basketball net, folded up as well, but don't need to avoid it when Luke Zenelik has a shot at it.
And Bo Zenelik, kill number 15 for him. Hits his hand awkwardly on the serve. It goes into the right side of the net. We are tied, 23-23. And Zape. His serve is over. Mosher sets up Bo Zenelik. And it looks like Bo Zenelik came over the net. And it is set point MSOE.
It's a bad break there for Zenelik. Had the point, would have given Cougar set point, but now they just got to hunker down. You don't have any room for a mistake on this volley. Try to force that extra volleyball.
And Zape's serve trickles off of the net. And Hollebeck, he'll get the kill. We'll get a little bit of extra volleyball here in set number 3 as it is win by 2.
See what the freshman's got here. Big opportunity. Can't afford a mistake in extra volleyball. Got to win by 2.
As Garcia's serve is over, and Chavitz, that goes off of the hands of Garcia. And Bo Zenelik is made by Kernberger. And the pancake attempt is no good from Garcia. MSOE now at set point.
I don't know if that didn't look entirely intentional off the MSOE set. Almost looked like it was just a set gone wrong, one gone backwards, but works out in their favor.
As that's played by Bo Zenelik and Hollebeck. That goes off of the hands of Craters. And Mosher sets up Hollebeck again. Big block! Chavitz! MSOE takes set 3, 26-24. We will have a set 4 here inside of Geisman Gymnasium. We'll be back for it on the Cougar Sports Network. And we're back inside a Geisman Gymnasium. Cougar fans, be sure to check out our YouTube page, CUC Sports, for new digital content, interviews, and broadcasts on the Cougar Sports Network. Now you can become a channel member for $5 a month to receive exclusive access to content and the ability to participate in live chats during the broadcast. Go to our YouTube channel, CUC Sports, click the join button to become a member. If you don't want to become a member at the time, you can donate to the CUC Athletic Communications Department. To continue to improve the broadcast you're watching by clicking the thank button on any video, we sincerely thank you for all your support. Well, MSOE took set number 3, 26-24. Cougars still in control, 2-1. And Peter, that MSOE team looked a lot different in that set.
Well, that looked like the team that we were expecting to come into Geisman, at least on paper. Again, this team came in 4th in the conference, above the Cougars, mind you. And they ranked towards the top of the conference on a lot of team stats as well. I mean, they're 2nd in digs per set. They played much better defense that set. They're 1st in kills per set. Their offense really started to find their groove in that 3rd set as well. So, really, I think what happened is that Coach Reed just settled his team down, got them playing the volleyball that they've been playing all season long. And, Cougars had to respond, and not to say they responded poorly, but just was not good enough as they weren't able to steamroll over MSOE. So this 4th set now, see if MSOE keeps it up or if Cougars get back to their dominating ways from earlier in the match.
And what looked like a potential Cougar sweep, here we are playing in set 4, and the Cougars will first to score here in set number 4.
A big start here would be killer for the Cougars, as you're coming off a 3rd set where MSOE playing their best volleyball of the night. If you can come in set 4, just take an immediate hold of the reins. That's going to be tough for MSOE to come back to.
As Mosher not able to get that one over the net, MSOE gets their first point of set number 4.
So we saw a couple more mistakes here and there by the Cougars in that 3rd set, and a reason they're able to get that 2-0 match lead to begin with was just due to how clean the volleyball was that they were playing. So when you throw some more mistakes in there, as good as they were playing, in terms of settled volleyball, they weren't able to make up for all the slip-ups here and there.
And the Cougars get the previous point, claim the lead 2-1, and Mosher back for serving duties. As Zapay and MSOE not able to get it over the net. That was Chavez who ran up trying to get the ball over, just not able to do that. And Mosher back to serve once again. And it's out of bounds. Actually, as the refs are trying to figure it out, it looked like it was out of bounds. Very questionable, as it looked like it hit that line. Hollaback talking it over with the ladder official. And it looks like it will be an MSOE point. Alex Craters to serve for the Raiders. Sent over by Rosen. Craters. Too strong of an attack, out of bounds. Point Cougars.
Well, see what the Cougars can do here. Almost a repeat of how set 3 started. That they're missing that big run that they got in the first 2 sets. See if they can pull one off here. As that attack error goes a little bit in the way of helping that out.
And it's the Cougars with the hot start. As Vozenelik serving. That's played by Kernberger. Zapay. That's out of bounds. Excuse me. Lands inbounds. It's kind of hard to see at times from up here, but it is a kill for MSOE. Nonetheless, James Zapay
And I expect to see a similar strategy out of MSOE from last set, which was just keep within striking distance, and that run where you can take the lead will come eventually. I don't know if this team's capable of pulling off a massive run against a CUC team of this caliber, but as long as they stay within 1 or 2, eventually you're going to get 3 or 4 points in a row, be able to take that lead.
And Zapay's serve is over. Bales sends it over. Set up for Chavitz. And no Cougars touched it, and that'll be a Cougar point.
So it was a close one. We saw Mosher pull his hands back at the last second. Raiders want to say that he touched, as Nick Tortura has some words with the latter official, but call stands, and Cougars got themselves a double-point lead again.
And Garcia's serve straight into the net. Tightly contested set 4, at least here in the beginning. And Aiden Sharapata back to serve for MSOE.
Sharapata, one of the big reasons that this team is so strong in the service aces, 5th in the conference in aces per set.
And a MSOE point. Now we are tied 6-6 here in set 4. Sharpata. A big kill right there from Moeller.
See Moeller targeting Sharpata on that one. It was still getting set after the serve, getting into the back row. So intentional or not, wise move by the CUC freshman to go after the guy who's scrambling to get to his spot.
MSOE not able to play it. Cougars lead 8-6, and Hollebeck will be back to serve. Saved by Craters. And Chavitz tips it over the net with both hands. Kernberger sets up Chavitz again. And it goes off of the hands of Mosher and Moeller on that right side of the net. Starchura. And Chavitz tips it over and out of bounds.
But again, Cougars just barely holding on to that multi-point lead, but they'll take it. It gives them a chance to slip up here and there and still be in control of things. But they're looking for that big run that they kept coming by in the first 2 sets to really beef up that lead. So when MSOE does, go on a run themselves, which we saw last set, CUC is able to rebound out of it.
And Wolf with the kill. He's been pretty quiet as of late. Nice job by him getting back in the mix. Mosher sets up Hollebeck. Nice save right there from Kernberger. Chavitz sends it over. And Vozenelik back to Craters. Sets up for Vozenelik again. And that's another kill for Luke Vozenelik.
When Vozenelik gets that cross-court hit, it's almost impossible to stop. Once it gets past that first line of defense, it's rare you see someone get a dig out of a Vozenelik attack just because of the velocity on it.
He's got a rocket of an arm, as we have talked about pretty much all night, and it seems like we do on every broadcast. And John Wolf, another kill for him here in set 4. And Dixon Seymour, same guy who provided that spark of momentum that the Raiders needed in set 3. He's back to serve. And that serve, rare service error from Seymour.
So very different from what MSOE got out of number 4 in red last set. And Cougars probably pretty happy he was able to provide that same kind of boost, and they got control of the ball right back.
Mosher's serve is over, but played by Zapay, and that's set up for Zapay, and that goes off the hands of Vales and out of bounds. Now Alex Creeders. Set up for Hollaback. And that hits the top part of the ceiling here in Geisman and will result in a Cougars point.
You know, while the Cougars want to go on that big run, really build up that lead, I'm sure they're fine with this right now, or both these teams are pretty much just trading points back and forth, and that's going to end up in the favor of the Cougars since they're up by 2, but MSOE, they need to find that run in themselves to take the lead.
And now Creeders. Strong kill from Alex Creeders. Coming into this game today, Creeders had 29 kills on the season. He has 4 here tonight, bumps up that season total to 33. Hollaback. A little too strong on that kill, that attack. Will result in an MSOE point. We are tied at 12. Zapay. Attack right there from Campbell. Don't see him do that often. And big block up front. That was Nick Statura and Aiden Sharapata.
Eyes are going to be on Coach Manos now. Still taking a seat on the bench, but I know he's got that timeout up his sleeve. Probably waiting to use it. And, you know, his team went up from being up 2 to now down by 1. Down by 2 make that. So I'd be surprised if we see a timeout here soon.
And now MSOE has a 2-point lead, and that timeout that you were just talking about, Peter, is called by head coach Greg Manos. The Raiders lead the Cougars 14-12 here in set 4. We'll be back for more action on the Cougar Sports Network. And we're back inside of Geisman Gymnasium. The MSOE Raiders lead the CUC Cougars 14-12 here in set 4. Peter, the Raiders have had the lead before, not often. Their biggest lead so far has been 1. Now they have their biggest lead of the night at 2. What have they done to get that so far?
Well, this team is best when they're just kind of scrapping almost, where they're not really worried about taking a big lead over the Cougars. They're just hanging in there, only being down by 1 or 2. And then, you know, eventually the Cougars are going to slip up a couple of times. You're going to get that run. It's just going to come naturally. That's when you take the lead, just as they've done here. Now they just got to keep going at that. Don't necessarily play like you're going for a big run in points. Just keep playing this solid volleyball you have been now that you have the lead.
Mosher sets up Hollaback, and Hollaback tips it over the net and will get the kill, pull the Cougars back within 1.
I think that's pretty close to hitting the pin or going over as they now reverse the point.
And now MSOE, a 3-point lead, their biggest lead of the night. As Zapay to serve for MSOE. And that's played by Vales. Mosher sets him up, and that's played by Kernberger. Now Creeders. Hollaback once again. That goes off of the hands of Shabitz and Sharapata and out of bounds.
Hollaback giving a bit of a ball don't lie there after that point got reversed. rightfully so, possibly. He comes in, gets the point off the attempt. Gets his team back within 2.
And Garcia, the serving specialist, coming back into the game. And looks like Moeller lost sight of the ball. It'll be a kill for the Raiders. Now reclaim their 3-point lead as Aiden Charapata to serve. Charapata. It's played by Vozinolik. Rosen sets up Vales. Set it for Chavez. Hollabeck sends that one over. Nice dig right there from Craters. Zape kept alive by Rosen, sent over by Mosher. Mosher kept that one alive. Vozinolik sends a floater over. Big block, Moeller. Chavez kept alive by Rosen. We got a nice volley going on here, folks. And it ends with the attack error from Tyler Hollabeck. MSOE growing their lead. They lead by 14. Or excuse me, 4.
This isn't a situation this Cougars team has been in tonight where MSOE is absolutely rolling. They're on a run. They have a decent-sized lead now. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond in this unfamiliar situation.
And Zape, that goes off the hands of Moeller as he attempted to get the block. And MSOE, they are hot right now. And that'll force a timeout from head coach Greg Manos. Raiders lead this one 18-13. We're going to go ahead and keep it here. Peter, it seems that MSOE has gotten the lead and haven't looked back. What are they doing that's boding well in their favor right now?
Well, the energy, first off, is higher than ever. These players are excited. I mean, the only time we've really seen that energy match so far this game is at the end of last set when they're able to come away with the win. Remember when Seymour came in, got all those service aces in a row, but they're just hyped up, and, you know, you play better when you're energized. It's just a natural thing, but I mean, this offense is attacking fast, they're attacking hard, they're not giving CUC's defense, especially their blockers, much time to get set. Like I said, kind of coming into this fourth set here, they're just playing as a team we knew they were going to be on paper.
And MSOE with the 5-point lead. It seems that the number 4, Dixon Seymour, provided that momentum that the Raiders needed in the third set, and ever since that point, they haven't looked back, and they're trying to even things up at 2 apiece as both teams making their way back onto the court for more set 4 action.
And the struggle here for CUC is going to be to, you know, they got to be thinking about that Marion game where CUC was up 2-0, and then a conference opponent right here in Geisman was able to come back, force that 5th set. That's got to be in the back of their minds right now. They got to get rid of that and just play their game, because when they've been playing their game tonight, they've been almost unbeatable.
As Moeller with the attack, Craters sends it over. Kept alive by MSOE, and Rosen not able to play it. And this MSOE lead continues to grow, and the Raider fans are excited inside of Geisman. Aiden Charapata. His serve is over, and Moeller with the attack, played by the Raiders. It's kept alive by Vales. Rosen just sends it over. And Rosen keeps it alive again, and Vozinolik. I don't even think he meant to do that, but he gets the kill.
That's the spark you got to use. A play that really should not have gone your way, ends up going your way, gets everyone energized. Great sellout defense there from the Cougars. Now they got to utilize that momentum, go on a run themselves here.
And Craters with the strong attack that goes off the hands of Rosen. Cougars trying to keep it alive. Rosen sends it over. And it just tips off of the hands of the Cougars and out of bounds. Now a 6-point lead for MSOE, and number 14, Nick Statura, to serve for the Raiders. More sweat on the floor. That was cleaned up by Luke Vozenelik. Statura, that is straight into the net. Service error, and the Cougars get the point. They trail by 5, trying to go on a little bit of a run to close this gap.
Well, now you get a mistake from MSOE. You get the ball back. Time to use it. Time to go on a run here because they're running out of time here in this 4th set.
Rosen sets up Vozenelik. Big block up front. Chavitz and Wolf. Not very many teams have been able to successfully block Luke Vozenelik, but MSOE has found an answer.
The blocking all night, especially of Vozenelik, has been just on point for MSOE, and it's fueling them right now. I mean, Vozenelik's still having a nice night with 18 kills, but those timely kills that he always seems to get to help put sets away, help get the Cougars back into things, just have not been there. And unless things change drastically here, we might be heading for that 5th set.
And the Cougars get the point. MSOE previously had a 7-point lead, their largest lead off of the night. And Christopher Livesay back into the game to serve. Livesay, that's played by Chavitz. Chavitz with the attack. Now Vozenelik. Chavitz again, that's played by Livesay. Cougars trying to track it down. It's tracked down by Mosher, and Hollebeck sends it over. Big block up front, Luke Vozenelik and Colby Campbell. Sneak attack right there from Mosher, kept alive by the Raiders. And that goes off the hands of Crater and out of bounds. Craters and out of bounds. The Cougars trying to chip away at this lead. They're once down by 7, now they trail by 5. And Livesay, played by Kernberger. Off of the chest of Livesay, sent over by Vozenelik.
Great stand there by Livesay. That one hurt.
Big block again, Colby Campbell, Luke Vozenelik. They've been tough on that front line all night, and a timeout by Coach Reed and the MSOE Raiders. The Raiders are up 22-18. We'll be back for more Set 4 action on the Cougar Sports Network. And we're back inside of Geisman Gymnasium. The Raiders lead the Cougars 22-18. And Peter, the Raiders, who were once up by 7 points, now find themselves only up by 4. What do the Cougars have to do to complete the comeback?
They just got to keep it going, as simple as that may sound. They're playing that volleyball that we know that they can play. So if they keep that up, we see them getting big blocks. Vozenelik's playing in groove again. They just keep all that up. They should be able to get back within this one. And even if they don't pull off this 4th set win, which, it's still going to be a tough task here, down by 4, while MSOE just 3 away from winning it, they're going to have that momentum going into set 5.
And Vozenelik has to send that one over. And Zapay. Looks like it was tipped by a couple of Cougars. Out of bounds. Now the Raiders 2 points away from sending this one into 5.
See, at this point, the best you can hope for is probably just to play good volleyball if you're the Cougars. See that you can get back on track before set 5 if it is to be, which at this point is looking more and more likely.
Vozenilik, and that's played by Statura. And Shavitz. Set point MSOE. 24-18 being the score. And Seymour, the serving specialist for the Raiders, trying to close this one out, send it to 5. Another service error from Seymour, a very rare thing from him. Cougars staying alive.
It's going to be hard, but being able to build off of that mistake is what you need to do. You need 5 straight points here. It's a tall task to ask for, but this Cougars team has shown they are capable of some pretty impressive runs.
Big block from Vozenilik.
Call.
But looks like they're going to award the point to MSOE. And with that being said, the Raiders take set 4, 25-19. It looks like we'll be getting set number 5. We'll be back for it on the Cougar Sports Network. Fans, head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics. Click sports and make sure to enter men's volleyball to find rosters, schedules, stats, and more. Again, the website is CUCougars.com. Well, the Raiders took set 4, 25-19 to even things up at 2 apiece, and right now, Peter, it looks like the Raiders are the ones with the hot hand. What do the Raiders have to do to complete the comeback and win this set?
Well, they've been playing a lot better volleyball, especially in the last 2 sets, and you know, I don't think it's even so much as they're playing drastically better, which they are. I mean, it's a big improvement from the start of the game, but another part of the equation is the Cougars just have been a little bit more sloppy these past 2 sets. I mean, they had a hitting percentage almost 400 back in that second set. It's now sitting at 158, so the Cougars are committing a lot more of mistakes themselves. And you know, I've mentioned a couple of times but that loss to Marion early in the season, where in Geisman the Cougars led 2-0 in the match, and the Sabres completed the comeback to take it in 5. That's got to be in the back of their heads. They got to shake that off, just play their game, and be able to come away with the win despite the MSOE comeback.
And again, this game has major implications on seeding and who may get a spot in the conference tournament. Cougars get the first point in this final set, and Vale's back to serve. That's played by Hollebeck. Vozenelik has to send that one over. Zapay, saved by Rosen. Vozenelik, a little too strong out of bounds. We're tied at 1. And Shavitz. Shavitz has been having himself a night. He leads the Raiders in the kills category with 13. That'll be a service error for Shavitz. Cougars reclaim the lead. And Livesay, the serving specialist for Concordia, makes his way back onto the court. And Livesay, played by Kernberger. Zapay's blocked by Mosher. Mosher, one of the smaller players on the court for the Cougars, but he got some airtime on that.
One of the strengths of this Cougars team is how well-rounded all these players are. There's no real one-dimensional player on the CUC court. I mean, you look at Hollebeck and Vozenelik, both of them great kill getters. They can play solid defense as well. Mosher, we saw right there, the main assist getter. He plays good up-front defense as well on that front line. Colby Campbell gets kills every once in a while. So, I mean, this Cougars team, even though they each have their specialties, something that they're extremely good at, they're all well-rounded volleyball players, so you can slot them almost anywhere, and that really helps with stuff like rotations. It just makes life a lot easier for Coach Manos.
And Shavitz with the kill to send Seymour to the service line. Hollebeck, played by Seymour. And Shavitz, once again, coming from that backcourt line. And another kill for Shavitz. Man, is he having himself a night for the Raiders.
This is the kind of volleyball we've had since the end of set 2. Even at the end of set 2 a little bit when MSOE started playing a lot better volleyball despite the set loss, which is just no one's really been able to grab that big lead. Both these teams are so competitive. They're going right back and forth. It's going to be hard for somebody to really pull away with this one easy.
And Vozenelik, that was his 20th kill of the evening. We mentioned earlier that he has eclipsed 1,000 career kills during his time at Concordia as Mosher's serve goes straight into the net. We are tied at 4.
And those are the kind of mistakes we've been seeing from the Cougars more and more since MSOE kind of turned things around, which is, they didn't even have a chance to make a play on things just because of how the service error ended. So they got to be able to start playing some cleaner volleyball.
It's kept alive by the Raiders and sent over as Rosen sets up Vozenelik. That goes off of Alex Craters, and a point for the Cougars. Vozenelik, played by Kernberger. Diving stance. Hollebeck sets up for Zapay. And Vozenelik not able to save that one, and that was our sports information director, Kayla McLeod, who caught that one. We're tied at 5. Zapay. That's played by Rosen. Mosher sets up Vales. Big block right there from Hollebeck. And it looks like a lift was called on Hollebeck. MSOE claims the lead here in the 5th and final set as Zapay to serve once again.
Can't let your mental state drop here if the Cougars is off the service error, they're able to tie it up. But again, as weird as it sounds, all the pressure's on CUC right now. MSOE, they were dead to rights earlier in the match. Now they're flying high. They're only 9 points away from completing the comeback. Pressure's on CUC to not drop this one, especially in such a big implications game.
This has been a back and forth affair, but MSOE gets the point right there. And what looked like the Cougars had a chance at sweeping the Raiders had made a remarkable comeback. And they lead in set 5. Chavez kept alive by Vozenelik in a diving attempt, but that is sent over by Vales. Zapay. Hollebeck. Floater sent over, but nice pancake right there from Rosen. Chavez. Rosen not able to get that one. And MSOE, a 2-point advantage. Aiden Sharapata. Vales with the kill.
David Vales has played such a big role in this team this year, and he's, one of those players that is quietly such a, key contributor for the team on the season. Vales, just 86 kills coming into the night, which, isn't even in the top 3 for the Cougars, but he's just so reliable. Like I said, he's an extremely well-rounded player, and he's able to get the Cougars back within 1, and then let's get some tied up here.
Well-rounded for sure as the Cougars tie things up at 8 apiece in what has proven to be a back-and-forth affair. As Chavez attack goes off of the hands of Moeller and Mosher and out of bounds, MSOE reclaims the lead.
Now's the time to lock in for the Cougars. MSOE, they're not in that point yet where mistakes become basically, I don't know what you want to say. You have to avoid mistakes at all costs. They're still in a point where they can afford a few slip-ups here and there, but they got to take the lead right now before MSOE gets too close to that 15-point mark.
There's been a few delays in action here tonight due to sweat on the floor. Seen a couple of times the towels come out as players from either side wiping the floor, but we will resume play as Vozenelik saves it, and that's sent over by Moeller. Now Chavez, that's kept alive. And an attack error from Moeller. And now MSOE in double-digit points. They lead the Cougars 10-8. And a service ace right there. Number 14, Nick Starchura. And MSOE, all the momentum is in their favor. They lead the Cougars 11-8. We'll be back for the conclusion of set number 5 on the Cougar Sports Network. And we're back inside of Geisman Gymnasium. More set 5 action. Cougars trail the Raiders 11-8 in what has been a very hot start for this Raiders team. They have all the momentum right now, Peter.
And that's really been the case since that second set loss for MSOE. They came out in that third set, played the best volleyball they had all night, and they haven't looked back since. Now the Cougars have a extremely tall task to try and reverse that momentum, get it swung their way, and get another 7 points here.
And Rosen not able to play that one, and the Raiders just growing their lead. They lead the Cougars 12-8.
Now you're almost at the point where you can't afford mistakes. You got 3 points left to give while needing 6 now. So, you know, you kind of got to, you're not going to go on a 6-0 run likely, so you got to choose when to, you know, be okay with giving up a point here and there.
And a service error right there from Starchura. Cougars will get the point. And Zapay, it's played by Rosen. Set up for Hollebeck. Kept alive by the Raiders. Nice play right there from Hollebeck. Shavitz sets up for Vozenelik. Very questionable call, but it'll be point MSOE. MSOE all the momentum right now as Shavitz trying to close it out for the Raiders. Vozenelik sets up Hollebeck, and Hollebeck will get the kill. Cougars staying alive. And Vozenelik. That'll be a point for the Cougars. They're exactly what they needed.
Okay, job's not done yet. You still need 4, while MSOE only needs 2, but they've had a couple calls go their way. Now a couple violations from MSOE. It's time to lock in. Don't even let them get another point.
And Campbell. His block attempt goes out of bounds. And now the Raiders are at set point.
Well, now you can't let them get another point. You have to go on a 3-0 run here at the least, as we're getting a timeout for Coach Manos as a CC to talk things over. But, yeah, you can't give up another point here. You got to go on that 3-0 run, force even more extra volleyball. And against the Raiders team that, I mean, you could just see it in their huddle right now. They are fired up. They know that they are on the verge of pulling off, you know, the biggest comeback you can in this sport. Cougars got to get their mindset right, start playing the volleyball that they're comfortable with, and score those next 3.
And a timeout was called by Concordia coach Greg Manos. And back to serve for MSOE is, in fact, who else? Number 4, Dixon Seymour. He's provided a spark of momentum in sets 3 and 4. And now, Peter, they're looking for him to close things out. The Cougars cannot afford to give up any points, however.
And that's really what the Cougars have not had since that second set win, is the energy levels have just died off a little bit. I mean, Geisman's emptied out a little bit as well. Of course, you don't want to put it on, you know, the fans and the crowd, but I mean, we've seen how big an effect having a huge crowd at this gym can have. So with some fans leaving as the night gets later, Cougars' energy levels have just died down the last couple of sets. Meanwhile, MSOE, knowing what they're on the verge of doing, they keep getting louder and more hyped as the match goes on.
And Seymour's serve is played by the Cougars' Hollebeck. And that is tipped by a couple of MSOE players and out of bounds. Cougars staying alive.
You just got to think about it as that next point mentality. You can't be thinking, I need 3 in a row, I need 2 in a row, I need however many in a row. If you're on that court, you just got to have everything focused on getting this 1 point, staying alive for at least one more volley.
Exactly 1 point at a time as Chavez, and that is the dagger for the Raiders off of the hands of Rosen. MSOE completes a remarkable comeback. They take set 5, 15-12. And at one point they were down 2 sets to none, came back all the way, defeated the Cougars 3-2. The Cougars now fall to 13-12 overall, 6-5 in the conference. Meanwhile, on the other hand, MSOE, they moved to 10-13 overall and 8-3 in the NAC. And Peter, this game has a lot of implications as far as seeding is concerned in the NAC.
Well, the Cougars, I mean, they were within one game of MSOE, would have tied them and had the head-to-head tiebreaker if they'd won tonight. Of course, that's not what ended up happening. And now, I mean, all eyes are on Thursday night for CUC at least. I mean, that's pretty much a must-win game for them, and they're going to need some help throughout the rest of the conference as well. But they're sniffing that playoff spot that has eluded them for this entire program history. 2 spots left open, and now the top 4 teams have all clinched their spot. Aurora, Benedictine, CUW, and MSOE. So CUC, they basically have to win Thursday night against Edgewood, and they might need a little bit of help as well.
And with the victory, MSOE has clinched a spot in the NAC tournament. Meanwhile, Marion is sitting on the outside looking in at 6-4 in the conference, 13-9 overall. The Cougars are at that 6th spot, and as we mentioned, 13-12 overall, 6-5 in the NAC. There's no doubt that that game against Edgewood College on Thursday is a must-win. Looking ahead for the Raiders, they have a matchup coming up at Dominican University on Friday. They'll travel back to River Forest. Once again, the Raiders take this match over the Cougars 3-2. One more time, I want to give a quick shout out to our student workers that are making this broadcast possible. On spotter duties, Jada Carr, our libero tracker, Kate Johnson. Working the scoreboard was Ashley Schroll. On camera, Haley Howard. Down there on the scorebook, Danielle Berg, our student photographer, Saba Miller. Up here producing with me and Peter, our producer, Ryan McGee. We are under the direction of Sydney Pulaskis-Lawher and our sports information director, Kayla McLeod. But as for my partner and I am Parker Kelly. I was joined by Peter Borkowski. You're signing off. We'll see you soon on the Cougar Sports Network.